Dear students, in continuation of electrostatics for intermediate second year, today we are going to discuss electric capacitance and capacitance. Capacitance is defined for capacitors. What do you mean by a capacitor in electricity? Capacitor is a device, it is a device which stores electric charge. You can also say that it is a device which stores electric energy. So capacitor resembles a battery, whereas a battery continues electric charge or electric current continuously at a steady rate, whereas a capacitor supplies less amount of electric current for a short while. Now we will see the uses, that is the applications of, uses of capacitors where it is applied, that we will discuss in few minutes. Before I go to capacitance, let me check what is capacitance. Now capacitor is nothing but a system of two electric conductors separated by a certain distance d. So capacitor is nothing but pair of electric conductors generally separated, and the intervening medium is generally an insulator. So in between these two conductors you can have air, you can have some dielectric. What do you mean by dielectric? Dielectric is nothing but some insulator like plastic, rubber or any other thing. So what do we do in a capacitor? In capacitor, we take out the charge from conductor B and we give it to conductor A. So because of this, generally this is positively charged and this is generally negatively charged. In general, you have plus Q charge on conductor A and minus Q charge on conductor B. So basically a capacitor consists two conductors having same charges but of opposite sign. The net charge of the capacitor is always zero. And since it is at having positive charge, definitely this will be at higher potential and this will be at lower potential. The potential difference between these two, let us say V1 minus V2 is V. Then capacitance of this system is defined as C is equal to Q by V, or you can use capital letter. Q is the charge and V is the voltage, that is the potential difference between the two conductors. So this is the definition of capacitance. Now capacitance does not depend on Q and V. This capacitance depends on the geometry of the capacitor. That means, so C depends on area, size, shape, etc. of the conductors. C also depends on the medium that is existing between these two, that is the intervening medium. So it depends on the nature of the medium that is existing between these two. So it depends on the medium. Generally medium is dielectric. So what do you mean by dielectric and what are the types of dielectrics? We'll be studying in few minutes. So C is equal to Q by V. In another way I can write this as, so charge is directly proportional to V. Charge is directly proportional to V. Because of this proportionality relationship, you have some constant, that is Q is equal to C. Right. Now I compare a capacitor with a glass. Consider a glass. Now in this glass I am pouring some water. As soon as I pour some water, the water level in this increases. So I am adding water. Here water resembles electric charge, and the level of the water resembles voltage. So as you pour more water, the water level in the glass increases. The capacitance is the ability of the glass to hold water, does not depend on either water, not or on the water level. The capacitance of this glass depends only the inner volume of the glass. So in the same way, the capacitance of this capacitor is not going to be altered with Q and V. It is independent of Q and V. Now, what are the units of capacitance? So C is equal to Q by V. For charge, the SI unit is coulomb, and for V, that is volt. So coulomb per volt is called as farad. This unit is derived from the name of a scientist called Faraday, who did many discoveries in the field of electricity. That we will be knowing later. So farad indicated by capital F. Farad F, the unit farad is a huge quantity, is a biggest unit. It's a very bigger unit. So instead of using farad, we use picofarad, that is 10 to the power of minus 12. We use nanofarad. We use microfarad, like that. So nano is 10 to the power of minus 9 and micro is 10 to the power of minus 6. So you are not supplying any charge from the outside, you are taking some charge from the conductor B and adding it to conductor B. So somebody has to do some work. So you can consider a capacitor of any shape. You can have spherical capacitors, that is two concentric spheres will be there. So one will be at higher potential, the other one will be at the lower potential. This is called a spherical capacitor. You can also have a cylindrical capacitor. So you have two cylinders, metallic cylinders, having the same axis. So this is called a cylindrical capacitor. In electronic circuits, we have ceramic capacitors. In general, any capacitor can be treated as a parallel plate capacitor. So in any capacitor, you will find two identical parallel plates, plate A, plate B. Even these type of capacitors can be imagined if their radius, that means if their size is very big, if the radius of the sphere is tending to infinity, then they will act like parallel plate capacitors. So all capacitors are nothing but parallel plate capacitors. That is the reason why a capacitor is indicated by a symbol consisting of two parallel lines of same size. Now who has to charge the plates of the capacitor? Somebody has to do work. That external work is done by a battery. So this is the symbol of capacitor. When this is connected to a battery, this is a battery or an electric cell. So what is happening? So electrons from the negative terminal of the battery are going to plate B. So your negative charge is piled up. So this negative charge pushes the electrons of plate A away from the plate A. Because of this, so negative charge repels electrons of plate A. So electrons are repelled from plate A and they move toward the positive terminal of the battery. Here electrons are going in this direction and here the electrons are reaching in this direction. The number of electrons lost by the battery are equal to number of electrons received by the battery. No current is flowing in between the two parallel plates. So current is not flowing between the two parallel plates. So here you can think that the work done by the battery is nothing but the work done in transforming positive charge from plate B to plate A. It is just like in gravitation, it is analogous to sending a stone from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain. You have to do some work. The work done by the external agent is stored as the potential energy of the capacitor. So whatever the work done by the battery is stored as the potential energy of the capacitor. So when you discharge the capacitor, that amount of energy will be released in a very short span of time. That is the reason why capacitor is used in flashlights of a camera. In a camera, we use a battery or a cell of 1.5 volt or 3 volts like that. So that battery whose EMF is some, let us say, 3 volt can't supply sufficient amount of current so that the flashlight can glow for a fraction of seconds. So what do we have? So you have a capacitor. This is a capacitor. It is connected to a battery. This is connected to a battery. Now I use a two-way switch. So this is a two-way switch, and this is connected to the flashlight. Here you have a flashlight here. So during the charging, that means during the charging, I connect these 2 points. So during this process, the plates of the capacitor are charged. That means one gets positive charge, the other one gets negative charge. That means its voltage will be equal to the EMF of the cell. Once it is charged, now what I do, I disconnect this, the two-way switch. Now I connect to this. So in fraction of seconds, the total charge stored or the energy stored by the capacitor is discharged. So for a moment, this flashlight glows. Then automatically for the next snap, you have to disconnect this, then you have to connect this, then it charges immediately, then you have to wait for 1 or 2 seconds, then when you click it, the discharge of the capacitor takes place. So this is the main usage of a capacitor. Capacitors are used in LC circuits called tuning circuit, or in tuning circuits. Tuning is done in radios to change the frequency of the radio. So if you want to change 93.5 to 105 point something, so you change the capacitance. There you use a variable capacitor. This is one advantage. Capacitors are used in filter circuits. Filter circuits are generally used in rectifiers. A rectifier converts AC current into DC current. We use a bridge rectifier where we use 4 diodes. So what do you mean by AC? So AC, you have positive and negative off cycles. So when I send this through a rectifier, then I will get this type of wave. So I will have only positive off cycles. So it is not exactly a DC. So here I use a capacitor. So during this, that capacitor gets charged and it discharges. So instead of going down, here only it discharges, then you will go here. Then here you go here, like this. So you are not going down and going up once again. So this red colored line indicates that here the capacitor is discharged. So during this up journey, the capacitor gets charged. During the down journey, it gets discharged. So you get almost all a DC curve with a slight ripple. So in this way, capacitors are used in many circuits. Capacitors are used to produce uniform electric field, strong uniform electric fields. Capacitors are used in almost all electronic devices. The electronic device, whatever you see in your life, will definitely consist of a capacitor. The symbol for capacitor is two parallel lines. If it is a variable capacitor, that means its capacitance can be changed, then you put a line across the plates. So this is about the capacitor. Capacitor is also called in olden days as a condenser. So your charge is condensed. Now what is the functioning of a parallel plate capacitor? How it works? What is the expression for the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor? That we will do now. Capacitors are also used in every electric motor. For example, in a ceiling fan. The condenser gives the necessary initial torque so that the blades of the fan they start rotating. And farmers are advised to use capacitors at their water pumps to rectify power factor problems arising with power factor. What do you mean by power factor? That we will discuss in alternating currents, right? Now let us go to a parallel plate capacitor and we will try to derive the expression for the capacitance that is given by C is equal to epsilon 0 A by D. Now every capacitor, as I told you, is basically a parallel plate capacitor. It's a parallel plate capacitor and they are separated by a small distance d. Generally that gap between these two plates is filled with dielectric, right? Now let us derive the expression. Here I make use of Gauss's law, right? Now this is a plate A which is positively charged and this is plate B which is negatively charged. Both are having the same area, capital A, and the distance between them is small d. Now since it is positively charged, the direction of electric field is like this. This is the direction of electric field in the case of positively charged plate A. Now what about the direction of electric field in the case of negatively charged plate B? So from positive charge field lines go away to negative charge field lines are attracted. So they come in this way, even here also. The intensity of electric field due to these two plates is same because they are having same charge. So the electric fields outside of this positive charge, so these are equal and opposite, so they cancel each other. Even here also they cancel each other. Whereas in the middle of these two plates, the two electric fields are added up. Now what is the intensity of electric field due to an infinite plane sheet of charge that we already learned in Gauss's law, that is given by E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. This is the expression for intensity of electric field due to a infinite plane sheet of electric charge of charge density sigma. What is sigma? Sigma is charge by area, that we already discussed. Here I have to take 2 E's, so this is intensity of electric field will be 2E, that is twice of this one, so we will have simply 2 sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So I am getting the intensity of electric field in between the plates as E is equal to, that is E inside is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. We know the formula that E is equal to V by D. The relationship between electric potential and intensity of electric field. From this I can write electric potential V is equal to E times D. So what is E? E is sigma epsilon naught times D. But sigma is equal to Q by A, so I can write V is equal to Q D by A epsilon 0. Now from the definition of capacitance, C is equal to Q by V. C is equal to Q by V. This is plus Q and this is minus Q. So I substitute it here. So C is equal to this small q and capital Q both are one and the same. So C is equal to Q by V. So Q by QD by A epsilon naught. This A epsilon naught comes into the numerator. So from this it is clear that the capacitance of a capacitor depends on the area of the plates, depends on the distance between the two plates. It is not going to depend either on charge or on voltage. Is this clear? So this is the expression for the capacitance in the case of any parallel plate capacitor. This is very, very important. Now suppose this is filled with some dielectric. If it is filled with dielectric, the capacitance increases. How much? The capacitance with dielectric, let us say the new capacitance will be K epsilon 0 times A by D. What is K? Here K is called dielectric constant. This K is called dielectric constant. So K is 1 for air, so K is infinity for metals, that is for good conductors, K is around 80 for water, like that. So if I fill it with some insulator, let us say mica or plastic or rubber, the capacitance increases by K times, where K is the dielectric constant. That we can derive, that we will be deriving. So before I go to the new expression with a dielectric of a capacitance, that is C is equal to K times epsilon 0 capital A by D, let me discuss, let me introduce a new type of material called dielectric. What do you mean by dielectric? Dielectric is nothing but an insulator. So insulator consists only bound electrons, that means in which electricity cannot pass. So that is the meaning of an insulator, right? Dielectrics are of two types depending upon the type of the molecules that it consists. One is called non-polar dielectric, the other one is called polar dielectric. So what is the difference? In non-polar dielectric, the best example is hydrogen and oxygen. Polar dielectric, the best example is HCl and H2O, that is water. Right. In non-polar dielectric materials, the molecules have got no poles. No poles means neither positive charge nor negative charge, separated by a distance. That means there are no electric dipoles in that material. Whereas in polar, you have dipoles. So all the molecules are acting like dipoles. Inherently it is having dipoles. Here you don't find dipoles. In a hydrogen molecule or in an oxygen molecule, due to symmetry, both positive and negative charges, they coincide. That is, the center of positive charge of the molecule coincides with the negative charge, that is the center of the negative charge of the whole molecule. So because of this, both are coinciding, the resultant charge will be 0, so they don't have any poles. Whereas in polar dielectric substances, you have a positive charge on H and a small negative charge on Cl. So because of this, these are slightly displaced from each other. That is, the positive center of the molecule is at a distance of the center of negative charge. So there is a slight, slight difference in the positions of their centers. So it acts like a dipole. Now, when a non-polar substance, in a non-polar substance, that is a dielectric, when it is placed between the plates of a capacitor, what happens? So because of this high electric field, the non-polar molecule undergoes polarization. Though it is not having any poles, that means dipoles, this strong electric field induces poles in the molecules. So though the molecule looks like this, asymmetric, so here the positive and negative centers of the charges are displaced one from the, they are separated one from the other. So what happens in the presence of strong electric field, though it is a, I am indicating it with a circle, so this will slightly be elongated. So here you will get a negative charge and positive charge. So in this way you have negative, positive charge, and even here also negative and positive charge. So negative charge, positive charge, negative charge, positive charge. So what is going to happen when a dielectric slab like a rubber slab is placed, or some slab of dielectric material made of non-polar molecules is placed between the plates of the capacitor? You will find some negative charges on the left hand side of the slab and some positive charges on the right hand side of the slab. So, this is called polarization. Now, in the case of polar substance, all the molecules, though they are having dipoles, those dipoles are randomly arranged due to thermal agitation. So, at room temperature they are randomly arranged. So, they keep on vibrating, they keep on orienting in random directions. So, the resultant dipole moment will be 0. Once it is placed in between the plates of a capacitor, they all will align in the direction of the electric field. So, they will align like this. Even due to this process also, in the case of a dielectric placed between the plates of the capacitor, you will find some negative charges on this side and some positive charges on the other side of this dielectric slab. So, this is called polarization. So, when there is no dielectric, E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. So, due to the induction, some surface charge density is induced. So, actually sigma, this is sigma I is induced. So, there will be some decrement in the electric field. So, because these positive charges are cancelled or nullified by these negative charges. So, the resultant surface charge density will be sigma minus sigma I. Sigma minus sigma I. This polarization is directly proportional to intensity of electric field. The higher the field, the higher the rate of polarization. So, I can write sigma minus sigma I is directly proportional to what do you call, it can be written as sigma. So, I can write sigma minus sigma I is equal to sigma by k. Here k is a constant. So, in our formula in a previous derivation, we wrote E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught when there is no dielectric. So, in the presence of dielectric, it becomes sigma minus sigma I by epsilon naught. By making use of this, so instead of sigma minus sigma I, if you substitute sigma by k, so this derivation is not important. You are going to get the new capacitance as C prime is equal to k times epsilon naught A by D. That means C prime is equal to k C naught. What is C naught? C naught is the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor without any insulator, or you can say that is the capacitance of a parallel plate capacitor where air or vacuum is present in between the two plates of the capacitor. So, this is about the dielectrics. So, in the exam you will ask how many types of dielectrics are there, what is the behavior of dielectrics when they are placed in between the plates of a capacitor, right. So, from this the electric constant can also be defined as k is equal to C prime by C naught, as I told you, which is equal to epsilon 0, which is equal to epsilon by epsilon naught. That is the permittivity of the dielectric medium with respect to the permittivity of the free space. Capacitance of the capacitor with dielectric divided by capacitance of the capacitor without the dielectric. So, this is about the parallel plate capacitor. So, everything is a parallel plate capacitor. Now, let us go to a new topic called a combination of capacitors. So, if you have more number of capacitors, more than 2, then or more than 1, we have to group them. So, grouping of capacitors can be done in 2 ways. One is called series combination of capacitors. The other one is parallel combination of capacitors. What do you mean by series combination and what do you mean by parallel combination? Now, I told you this is the symbol of capacitor. If I take more than one, let us say I take 3 capacitors of capacitances C1, C2, C3 respectively. Now this is positive charge, this is negatively charged, positively charged, negatively charged, positively charged, negatively charged when on connecting it with a battery. This is connected to a battery. So on connecting to a battery in series, that means the negative plate touches the positive plate of the next capacitor. So this is called series combination. In the case of parallel combination, all the positive plates are connected to same terminal of the battery and all the negative terminals are connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So this is connected to positive terminal of the battery and this end is connected to negative terminal of the battery. So this is called parallel combination of capacitors and this is called the series combination of capacitors. Now you can observe some electrons are going, let us say 10 electrons are going and these 10 electrons are piled up on this plate, so it becomes negatively charged. These 10 electrons repel 10 electrons. So 10 electrons are going through this wire. So once again the same thing happens, even here also you will get 10 electrons, even here also you will get same 10 electrons. So what does it mean? In series combination, all the capacitors have same charge. Whereas in parallel combination, the charge is divided. The charge is divided into Q1, Q2, Q3 branches. Whereas in any parallel combination of anything, voltage remains same. So voltage is constant, here charge is constant. In the case of series combination, the potentials are divided into V1, V2, V3. So this is very, very important. In series combination, we divide the potential. In parallel combination, we divide the charge. So if you know this, you can derive the necessary formula. Right. Now let us do for the series combination. We are going to do the resultant capacitance of these three. So the presence of these three capacitors can be the presence of these three capacitors can be treated as a single capacitor. That capacitor is called resultant capacitor. Right. Now, so V is the potential of the battery. So it is divided into V1, V2 and V3. So the sum of these three potential drops is equal to the potential of the battery. I know from the formula of that is C, Q can be written as CV. I can write V is equal to Q by C. So here instead of V, I write Q by C. Here I write Q by C1. Here I write Q by C2. Here I write Q by C3. We can write Q1, Q2, Q3, but Q1, Q2, Q3 are same. So you can take Q common on the either sides of the equation. So what you will get? You will end up with 1 by C is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. If you have n number of capacitors, then you have to write up to 1 by Cn, because your Q gets cancelled. So this is the expression for resultant capacitance in the case of a series combination of two or many number of capacitors. Here I can write Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. So use the same formula, Q is equal to CV. Here C is the resultant capacitance. So here it can be written as C1V plus C2V plus C3V, because V is constant. So V can be taken common on both the sides. You will get C is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. If you have n number of capacitors, you have to write up to n. So resultant capacitance is more in this case. Here the resultant capacitance is less compared to this one. Is this clear? So this is about the combination of capacitors. Now let us go to the derivation of energy stored by a capacitor. Why energy stored? Because I am doing some work against the wish of the plates of the capacitor, especially the plate A. There are some capacitors, you can consider a capacitor with a single conductor. As I told you, it is the combination of two conductors, but you can imagine a single conductor. Suppose I take this plate, or better I take a cylinder. This is a cylinder. Imagine the second cylinder is at infinity. So even a single conductor can also act like a capacitor, right? Now in this case I am bringing a unit positive charge from infinity. So this is my conductor B, the conductor A is at infinity. So bringing unit positive charge, I have to do lot of work. Initially capacitor has no charge, so charges are 0. Now in between somewhere I imagine that some q prime charge is there on both the capacitors. I further want to charge them, so I want to increase the capacitance by dq. So in the intermediate stage, in between somewhere, the potential is V prime, here potential is 0. My final target is to charge the capacitor to a charge q, and I want to increase its potential to V. The work done in adding the charge dq to q plus q is, let us say, dw. The small amount of work done in adding a small charge dq to the plate A is dw. We know that from the definition of potential, V is equal to W by Q. So it can be written as W is equal to VQ. So here dw is equal to V prime dq. dq is the small amount of charge that is to be added. What is the value of V prime? So V prime can be written in terms of Q and C. So we know Q is equal to CV, so V is equal to Q by C. Or if you want, you can write Q prime, this is dq prime. So instead of writing prime, let us write only Q. So I am replacing V prime by Q by C multiplied by dq. This is dw. Right, this is V prime. If it is V prime, there is no dq. Now I substitute this here. So dw is equal to q by c into dq. If I want to charge this to another charge q, I want to increase its charge from q prime to q and potential V prime to V. The total work done is nothing but the integral of small amount of work done. So this is equal to q by c integral dq. So I am charging it from 0 to some charge q. So initially there was no charge. This q I have to write like this. So this is only 1 by c is constant. I can write it as q dq. So integral from 0 to capital Q. So work done will become 1 by c. The integration of x dx is equal to x square by 2. This is from the formula x to the power of n dx is equal to x to the power of n plus 1 by n plus 1. This is the formula for integration. Now I substitute, then I will get this as q square by 2. So 0 to q. So this will become W is equal to capital Q square by 2c. The amount of work done against the wish is always stored as potential energy. So the energy stored by a capacitor is given by U is equal to half Q square by 2c. This is one form of energy stored. This can be written in two other ways also. I substitute Q is equal to CV. Then the second equation, U is equal to half. Here it is C square, V square. Here no 2. Half C square, V square by C. So the second formula is So 1C gets cancelled, half CV square. This is the same formula expressed in terms of C and V. This is derived from 1 only, all are same. Now what is the third way? Third way is to substitute the value of C. Here we substituted Q is equal to CV. Now I substitute C is equal to Q by V. So the third one will become U is equal to half, Q square remains same. Instead of C, substitute Q by V. So this is Q by V. So 1Q gets cancelled, V comes into the numerator. The third way of writing the potential energy stored by a capacitor is half QV. So these are the three different formats in which you can express the energy stored by a capacitor. So this is about the energy stored by a capacitor. This is called electric potential energy, right?